I have a question for everyone in the audience today. How many of you think you can go without your phone for a day? I can see some of you raising your hands, but in making that decision, most of you probably weigh things that you need your phone for. Like I got emails to check, I got to text somebody. Some of you may have even wondered, why would I do this crazy thing? But for those of you who raised your hands, I want you to add having no connection with family and friends, and also add a vow of silence so that you can't even talk with yourself. How many of you do you think can do it now? Sincerely. I can only see a few. So suddenly what happened? Thank you all for participating though. What happened is that the idea of just living with yourself sounds much harder than just not having your phone. And now multiply everything I said by 10 days. And that's the rough estimate of the things I had to let go when I went for a Vipassana meditation retreat back in January 2018 in Nepal. It all started off as a New Year's resolution where I wanted to do something different and challenging. So what is Vipassana? Vipassana means to see things as they really are. It is the process of mental purification through self-observation. Right from where I entered the place, we were made clear about the 5 precepts that we had to follow for the duration of the course. First, to abstain from telling lies, which was easy because we had the vow of silence, which is also called the noble silence. Second, to abstain from killing any being, even the smallest ones like the mosquitoes and ants. Third, to abstain from any sexual activities. To reduce distraction, there is complete segregation of men and women. Fourth, to abstain from stealing. And the last one is to abstain from any intoxicants like alcohol and cigarettes, which is a major craving for a lot of people, and that is one of the huge reasons people give up. The day starts off with a waking up bell at 4 a.m. in the morning, and it ends at 9:30 p.m. And in between that time, there is about 10 hours of meditation with only a few periods to eat and rest. During the first day, Anapana was introduced, which is to observe your nostrils for incoming and outgoing breath. This is the first step in learning Vipassana. In the beginning, it was painful to sit there for hours on end trying to meditate. And it took me 2 days just to realize that I had to let go and observe. Because meditation is like sleep. The harder you try, the less likely you are to succeed. And after doing that, it was the third day, everything blended together, and I could finally meditate in peace. That was the same day when Vipassana meditation was introduced, which is to observe sensations all throughout the body. Most of you may not know this, and I did not know this at first too, that there are these subtle sensations going on every part of our body from head to toe. It's that our conscious mind is so unaware of it because we have been accustomed in living in a world full of noise and chaos. The fourth day, it was the same date and time. 2 years ago, I was in the main hall meditating. And it's interesting where life takes you that now I'm here sharing the same story. Moving on to the 6th day, it was unusual. It was my birthday, and for the first time in my life, I had no one wishing me. The irony is that all of the people there were under the vow of silence and no one knew each other. And the people back at home who wanted to wish me couldn't contact me. But I was slowly progressing until I hit the hardest point on the 7th day. That's when I started to miss my home, my family, my friends, and everything I used to do. I had multiple thoughts that day about quitting and going back home. But deep inside, I knew I was learning more about myself in that short amount of time than the entire 18 years of my existence. And there was this little voice inside of me saying, this is the hardest point in the process, and if you give up now, you'll regret it forever. So I stayed. And even now, when I think about it, that voice couldn't have been more right. Because those 10 days of Vipassana had changed my life for the better. And as Tony Robbins once said, without a breakdown, there is no breakthrough. And right after that day, everything started to get smooth. And on the 9th day, I felt its true power. I could feel the sensations, the vibrations all throughout my body. And it was a magical moment. You have to experience it for yourself to truly know what that felt like. And as it came to an end, I felt as if I had won a battle. It was a bumpy road, But I'm glad I got to experience it because I came out stronger than I had ever been. And there are a lot of lessons that I learned during that time, which we all can take, apply, and benefit in our own daily lives. I've summarized all those in 4 points. First lesson, craving brings misery. How often have we set a goal, work towards it, and somewhere along the line, some craving comes up and we get distracted. And at the end of the day, we feel miserable because we did not accomplish that goal. Raise your hand if you know that feeling. And the worst part about it is that even if you fulfill one craving, another one eventually comes. And this is the vicious cycle that repeats. So the best thing you can do is try and not give in to that initial craving and observe it, because once you do that, it slowly starts to fade away. Second lesson, every moment is extraordinary, and Vipassana helped me realize that to the fullest extent. In our daily lives, we can easily fall into the trap of thinking that every day is the same. You wake up, you go to work, you come back home, and you sleep. And it is very hard to realize the most precious thing that we have with us right now, the present moment. And it were those faintest of sensations that helped me realize that there is always something going on. So let's try and appreciate what we have right now, the present moment, and live it to the fullest. Third lesson, being equanimous. Equanimity is a state of composure, which is unaffected by your feelings, your emotions, or any things that might cause you to lose the balance of your mind. It helps us transform misery into happiness and helps us to find peace and harmony within. Being creatures of emotions, we have understood to a certain degree that every emotions, even sadness, are part of our life, but we don't want it. So, whenever something good happens, let's try to say, this is the part of my life where I get to be happy. And in the same way, when something bad happens, let's try and think, this is the part of my life where something bad is happening. And I have the option whether to give into it, dwell on it, and be miserable, or I have the option to get out of it and think of it as a problem and work on solving it. You can only reach this state of thinking once you strive to be equanimous. And the last lesson is about change and impermanence. It is that everything is changing and nothing lasts forever. Consider yourself for an example. You were born and you go through this process of aging, which is essentially a process of change, and you die. Or consider the whole universe for an example. It was formed a few billion years ago and it will end in a few billion years. So what's happening in between those two extremities is that it's going through a process of change. So everything you see, do, feel, and everything that's part of your life, your family, your friends, will eventually change. And the only thing you can do about it is to try and accept the very nature of change and impermanence, and accept it in all its entirety. So with everything said, I want to encourage you all to try meditation in your daily life, even if it's just for 5 to 10 minutes. It can be any kind of meditation which will help you to maintain the balanced sense of mind and body, and helps you to go through life with purpose. And if you ever plan to go to a Vipassana retreat, if you ever like to go to a Vipassana retreat, I would highly encourage you to do so, because it's great. And the best advice I have for you, if you ever plan to go, is stay there for the whole 10 days and don't give up. And that holds true for everything you do in life. Don't give up. Thank you.